Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back another video day. And today we're going to be talking about the Golden State Warriors potentially trading for Nikola Vucevic from the Chicago Bulls. And recently it's been reported that the Golden State Warriors are out on trading for Jimmy Butler. This does not surprise me at all because I really don't think the Warriors really have the assets to trade for Jimmy Butler because the Warriors, for starters, you have to send it Andrew Wiggins in a trade. Because of the salary of Jimmy Butler, who's making almost $50 million a year. So you have to include their biggest contract. If you're not going to trade Draymond or Curry, then you have to include Wiggins in that deal because of Butler's contract. And then the Warriors are going to want some of the potential young stars like Kuminga or Podziemski. So with that being said, then you have the draft picks that Miami would potentially want. It would just be ridiculous if the Warriors traded for Jimmy Butler, not including you'd have to give up Wiggins, draft picks, and someone like a Kuminga or a Podziemski, but also that's for a rental Jimmy Butler. Like, Jimmy Butler can, get upset with the Warriors. Like, let's say Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry didn't work out. We've seen crazy stuff that should work out that hasn't worked out. Say that didn't work out for them, and Jimmy gets upset about it. Jimmy gets upset about. We've seen Jimmy get upset and decide he doesn't want to play for a team anymore. That would just backfire on the Warriors. If Jimmy Butler had a bunch of time left on his contract, I think maybe the Warriors should go for it with Wiggins and Kuminga and draft picks for Butler. But Butler, at the end of the contract now. But Nikola Vucevic, I think, is 100% a good target for this Golden State Warriors team. Let's start up with the fact that the Warriors need a center. Not only do the Warriors need a center, the Warriors need a center because they get killed by centers. Crazy out rebound by centers. Centers get a bunch of assists against this Warriors team, a bunch of points. Just last night, Domas Sabonis had 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists against this team. I know that Sabonis puts up crazy numbers, but that's been the story against, this has been the story for this Warriors team all year against centers. Centers have dominated this Warriors team. That's what's going to happen when you have Draymond Green at center, or Draymond Green and Trayce Jackson-Davis as your 4 and your 5. I think Trayce Jackson-Davis and Draymond are obviously solid players. Number one, Draymond isn't a 5. Draymond is a great defensive player, but he shouldn't be going up against centers each night. And Trayce Jackson-Davis, I think, is a solid young player, but I don't think he's really built to be a starting center for this Warriors team yet. Eventually, maybe he could be built into that, but he's still so young and has some growing to do. And I don't even know if he'll be a starter in this league once he's fully developed, but he's not fully developed yet. So this Warriors team, if you ask me, I think they need to go acquire a center. And that's mainly because of how bad they get killed by centers each night. Out-rebounded, crazy number of assists for centers against the Warriors and points. So that's why I look at Nikola Vucevic, who is a guy that the Bulls are 100% willing to trade. That's a big reason why I think this Warriors team needs to go out there and get him. I think he's probably the best center out there that's available. I think maybe a Jonas Valanciunas would be a great fit for this Warriors team as well. I think he could be a really good fit for this team as well. Might be even cheaper than Nikola Vucevic, but I think he is the best center that will be available in the trade market coming up in the February trade deadline. And I think he fits well with this Warriors team. They need a rebounder. That's going to be one thing that I think he would fit really well with. But I think another thing is he's a good three-point shooter, and that's something this Warriors team likes to do. They like to shoot threes. Of course, they do when you have the best shooter in the world. But this is a guy who's shooting 43% from 3 on the season, shooting 35% in his career. Those are good numbers for a big man. And he's averaging 20 points per game. He's averaging 10 rebounds per game. Those numbers, that's coming in. Obviously, the Warriors have some solid players next to Curry. They have Schroeder, they have Draymond, they have Kuminga. But there's no other player that's averaging those type of stats on this Warriors team currently besides Steph. So there's not guys on this like Wiggins, guys like Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond, Buddy Hield, Dennis Schroeder. They've had solid seasons, right? They're putting up solid numbers. but there's not anybody on that Warriors team besides Steph that's averaging 20 points per game, or averaging. Well, I don't think there's anybody on the Warriors team that is averaging double digits rebounds per game. So. With that being said, I really think this Warriors team needs to jump the gun on Nikola Vucevic, and I don't think he's that expensive. I think the Bulls want a first-round pick. We've heard that. We've heard that the Bulls are, very needy on getting a first-round pick after the Josh Giddey trade. After they traded Caruso for Josh Giddey and didn't get any first-round picks, all we were hearing is about how the Bulls want 2 or 3 first-round picks for Alex Caruso, which I think was a little bit of a high demand. And I don't think they were going to ever get 2 to 3 first-round picks for Alex Caruso. But what I thought was very, very dumb on the Chicago Bulls' part is trading away Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey and not getting any first-round picks back. I know those are 2 really good players, and probably if you look at it now, maybe the Bulls won the trade because Josh Giddey's playing terrific basketball and probably has a great future in Chicago, and the trade probably looks better for the Bulls. But if we're looking before the trade, I'm not going to say Caruso, the value he brought defensively, the trade value he had, and not only that, but the team that he was getting sent to with the Thunder, who have so many first-round picks, the fact that the Bulls couldn't get one for him, it amazes me how they did not get a first-round pick for Caruso. Even though Josh Giddey was involved in that trade, I know. But, it's the Thunder who have the most first-round picks in the league. And Caruso had a lot of trade value. And Josh Giddey's value was a little bit low at the time. And so, obviously, I think now it's gone up a lot because he's playing some really good basketball in Chicago. But, so, the Bulls are looking for first-round picks and trades they're making after what happened this offseason. They're guys like Vucevic and Levine. I think other guys like Lonzo Ball and Torrey Craig are open for business. There are probably a bunch of other players on this Bulls team that are open to get traded. I don't think that those are anybody that the Warriors would be interested in. Maybe Levine, but I think in a deal, most likely Vucevic is probably the only guy going to Golden State. Maybe there's a world where Torrey Craig gets included. He's low contract, good, solid scorer, solid shooter. Solid defender, could fit well with this Warriors team. So maybe there's a deal where Torrey Craig is brought in with Vucevic. But I really doubt it. But I think what you're looking at is potentially Kevon Looney and Gary Payton with a first-round pick going to Chicago for Vucevic. I don't think Chicago's really big on the players they're getting back as long as they're getting nice draft picks. I think after that Giddey trade, like I mentioned, I think they really want to be able to, build their draft stock again because they really had an opportunity to do that with Caruso, but instead they went with Josh Giddey. But I think Gary Payton, Kevon Looney, and a first-round pick, maybe a second with a first, gets it done for the Warriors to get Nikola Vucevic. And I think this really improves the Warriors because there'll be a better rebounding team. I think there'll be a better scoring team. And look, let's get to Steph real quick. Like, Steph still plays great basketball. Look, just the other night he shot 8 for 8 from 3. And he still has great nights. Like last night he had 26 points. But let's not act like he has nights where he doesn't look like himself. I mean, he had it just a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. He had a night where he only had 2 points, did not make a field goal. I'm not trying to hate on Steph because it's actually really fantastic that at his age he still plays the basketball he plays. He's still at 36, 37 years old, still can find a way to, go 8 for 8 from 3, score 30 points, or have a game like he had on Christmas. So he still plays great basketball. He's still averaging over 20 points per game, but he has a lot of nights where he doesn't play great basketball. And I think in past sequences, Steph has had this type of basketball. Like, Steph could play this type of basketball, and the Warriors could still win games easy because Steph has a Klay Thompson with him, or a Kevin Durant next to him, or a Draymond Green. Steph, I don't think, like, Steph needs to have the kind of nights like he had on Thursday night, every night in order to win. And that doesn't happen, and that's okay. That's okay because Steph is aging, and when you're aging, you're gonna have more off nights than you've ever had in your career, and that's fine. But you need a better second option to rely on if that's going to happen more. If there's going to be more off nights than ever, and that's why the Warriors really need to go make a move, and go get another nice scorer next to Steph. You tried with Dennis Schroeder; he's been pretty solid, but I mean that's not going to be a second guy next to Steph. He's a solid addition. I think he'll continue to play some solid basketball for the Warriors. Hield was a solid addition to free agency. He's a great shooter, of course. They have Draymond, they have Wiggins, they have Kuminga. They have great nights, but then they also have their fair share of bad nights. I think Vucevic would be a great addition for the Warriors, and it makes them not only a better team offensively, but a better team defensively and with their rebounding going up against opposing teams. So let me know your thoughts on the Warriors potentially trading for Nikola Vucevic in the comment section, and peace out.